and girls then, but just a little different scenario there, and missing out of the lineup sadly, and sidelined and out for the season is Alex Phillips after a crash last weekend, coming back with injury, and a big crash yesterday, and they've packed up and gone home for the health reasons. And a great start there, Jeremy Holmes off the line, and look at the flying start by McLaughlin. Not McLaughlin,
Daniel Medham.
Daniel Medham, yeah, Daniel Medham got a flyover start, but it definitely was one of those Hondas flying out in the front. We can see the Kawasaki Shane Richardson there in second place, and the orange and white Yamaha there in third place. The number 61 machine, the points leader in the class there in a good solid third place, until somebody goes up right on the inside, and I think that's Damon Rees. That'll be Jeremy Holmes out in the front. Jeremy Holmes out in the front. That's in fact, I disagree with myself. There's two Hondas out there, very, very similar colours. I catch a flash of is it fluorescent green in there, which would have to be Damon Rees on the number 9 bike, and he started off pole position, qualified pole, and an outstanding ride, but still a good ride for Jeremy Holmes too. He was second off the pole there, got a little bit of a wheelie off the start and got gobbled up there by the Kawasaki of Shane Richardson, but around here we've got, I think, a 15-lap race, and I saw new tyres on everybody. Yes, it is Demon Damo there out in the front, and another Honda there in second place, and that's the local man Jeremy Holmes. As I say that, Shane Richardson just gets from behind the slipstream and reels past him, and goes into turn 1 there in second place. So it is Honda, Kawasaki, Honda and Yamaha, and then we go back to Dan Medham on the number 34 machine, the first of the Suzukis, and there's only a couple of Suzukis out there. There was time when there'd be 8 or 10 Suzukis out there, but there's not a lot of Suzukis out there in the class at the moment, and it's a very, very big shame that we are seeing Alex Phillips missing out of the lineup, and we can tell he's pretty well okay. He just had a couple of bumps and bruises when he went off the end of the front straight, and the bike was a little bit damaged, but they decided to, I think, just step out the season, and he's a bit gun shy as well, which was understandable after 2 crashes in 2 weekends. Stalled on the start line last weekend, and got cleaned up by someone else going past, but lap 2 here of the Supersport 600 thing, and it is Honda, Kawasaki. In fact, they're almost 3 side by side. We've got 51 thousandths of a second between first and second. I'm not even going to look at the timing screen, and the Kawasaki is still stopped in there into third place. So it's Damon Rees. Had a crash coming out of the hairpin at Ruapuna last weekend. He says it's the biggest road racing crash of his life. Hasn't dampened his spirits or his abilities or his enthusiasm or his daredevilness whatsoever. He's out there leading his points race at the moment. Can we see him as his first ever national points win? In fact, he's not leading now. I think Jeremy Holmes has gone through there for the lead there, Neil Ritchie.
All right, and we can add in, and for those of you watching online, we're missing the number 11 of Seth Devereaux. He's just being added into the lineup as we speak, so for some reason either a flat transponder, or we know he's had some bike problems, and maybe sometimes a rider takes their transponder off as pulling other bits of their bike away, and maybe it hasn't gone back on, but we'll get that added to our result as we see Super Seth in action out there at the moment. There we are, looking for the run in the slipstream, the 2 Hondas going for it at the moment, and it is in fact Jeremy Holmes the advantage this time over Damon Rees. So the 2 Honda Hotshots showing their class at the stage over Shane Richardson, Ken Hudson, Dan Medham back to 5th place, looking to Seth Devereaux, Aaron Hassan with Ted Collins, and as Spider has talked about, the sad withdrawal of Alex Phillips after a crash last week, and another one this week. The one last week not his own fault. As we look at the top 2, though, still yes, Rees in front, it is. So Damon Rees. And then we're going to Jeremy Holmes, and behind him then going to Shane Richardson, Cam Hudson, Dan Medham, and looking out for Dan now. Certainly Dan was the one with the longer legs here. There may be lesser of the Suzukis, but I tell you what, that's a fast one, and it's a awesome RCM. That's a Ray Clee motorcycle supported bike for the Coleman Suzuki rider from Auckland. So well done to young Dan Medham, course former 125 star in New Zealand racing, been one of those that started in development riding and working his way back up, and a very competent rider. As we look out for it, and here we go again with the number 10. I'll tell you what, look out for 28 as he comes now. That'll be Shane Richardson, Shane on the move. So it's Jeremy, Damon, Shane, then going to Cameron, Daniel and Aaron. So I tell you what, The other feature, of course, is these guys looking to try and go under that magic 1 minute mark, because their times have been 1:00 point something, and everybody's trying to get that magic 59.99999 as they struggle to get the perfect of conditions. When you're going so close together like that, unless you're going to be that one in the front, of course, those from behind, unless there's a bit of a gap, you're just watching that other rider, and you do lose that millisecond on a number of the corners when you've got other riders so close together like that. Great to watch though as they come down towards the brickyard, out of the hairpin, down towards the elbow. It is still the two Honda front runners, and looking at the green bike, we can pick up the Kawasaki from a distance, and I think, has that gone back to a third? Has that gone back to a third? I think it's back there, and it may have even been to a fourth place, unsure, but we'll get an idea. We've got the Hondas 1, 2, now it is the green in third, and there he goes, then looking to Cam Hudson, then go to Dan Metham, back then to Seth Devereaux, ahead of the update from Aaron Hassan, then going to young 16-year-old from Australia, and Ted Collins, go to Marcus Begley. Now looking out for Royd Walker-Holt, newcomer in this big Supersport 600 lineup from the former 250 champion. Then going to Rex out there. That's Rex Mincher out of Taupo, ahead of Robert Gibson, the runner that he's got with him at this stage. So looking good, because our top 8 riders separated by 9.8 seconds, so less than 10 seconds for our top 8 riders. That is class. And we're watching that a Honda battle with the Rees family, actually hosted by the local Holmes family this weekend, Spider. So there they are. They're sharing the same accommodation, but as we can see, they're in completely rival modes, but very close together. But the Honda brand well represented at the front of the field. Great ride.
That's great to see Seth Dever up there in 5th place as well. I mentioned last weekend that he has the ability to win in 6th place. Sorry, he has the ability to win in in the wet, and this is an outstanding ride for him in the dry. Local man, Tapanui's just about 50 minutes away, so it is his local track, and out in the front there it is Jeremy Holmes, who's got a bit of a break on the field. Not a bike there, there's probably 15 bike lengths between first and second. It is Damon Rees with the fluorescent fluorescent front end on his bike. Is a little bit easier to pick up, and a little bit of fluorescent in his leathers, followed by Shane Richardson, Cam Hudson sitting there in a comfortable 4th place, but not too far behind. I'm only talking 5 to 6 bike lengths is Dan Metham, and he's already run points races here this weekend. So the number 34, Dan Metham, won the race here yesterday. So hot shots there. It is Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha, and then we've got the Suzuki in there. So the rest of the field is broken away. We've got now maybe 200 metres back to Seth Devereaux. A bit of a lonely ride on the number 11 bike, but still a good solid position for him, and moving up in the points after a couple of DNFs last weekend. That Richardson bike, the Kawasaki, seems to have the legs down the straight. He tucks in behind and does a bit of slipstreaming, and he's just about always passing just past the start-finish line, and he made that one stick. He's got there into 2nd place, and he's closing right up there on the local Jeremy Holmes Southland Honda machine there. Local knowledge there. He's going to learn a bit, but Jeremy Holmes is very, very quick through the infield here. Absolutely outstanding. The way he's been passing Damon Rees 2 or 3 times on the corner just after Macaulay Ford certainly shows that he's picked up the magic of this corner.
Looking at that, Jeremy Holmes, he's done his the best time of the race back in lap 6. This is now lap number 7. A time of 1:00.352, and the lap record is 1:00.124. So you're talking about 2/10 of a second off the lap record. So great to see as we watch out for it. We're missing one. Spider's just picked it up. He's trying to get binoculars out there. All of a sudden he's just spotted the fact that there's only 3, and we see a flag. We see a flag. So the one is missing. Damon Rees, the one is missing. Damon Rees. So he's upright and pushing his bike. So A-OK is Damon's the one that's gone back. So he's dripped back there now, 1 placing. Seth's now been added to results for those of you looking online, but hasn't been credited with all the laps. So he has been there for each lap, and he is at this stage up there into what will be now 5th place. So Shane Richardson. Daniel Metham, by the way, the fastest time now at 1:00.182. So that is now 6/100ths of a second off the lap record, Spider. 6/100ths of a second. So Dan Metham, the closest man to John Ross's lap record, set back in 2012. So a 4-year-old lap record for these guys. So Shane Richardson, Jeremy Holmes, Dan Metham benefiting from that. He's the one that was in 5th place a lap ago. Now with the demise of Damon, we've seen him go up 1 for that. Plus he's also done some overtaking and got past Christchurch hero and Cam Hudson, who's then be back to 4th place. So great to watch in our flying good ride here at the moment with our stars of the moment. And check it out, Richardson in front. There we go with Holmes. Now with Metham on attack. Medham on attack. He comes out of the slipstream, goes past him on his right-hand shoulder, and then tucks into Ctas and has now gone into second place. But he does do the slight, when you're going into the corner a little bit higher, of course, you do come out that little bit further and faster, and that further means he's out a little bit wider. And that's meant that he's gone into second place, but had a chance to lose it. And that time still of Dan Medham's lap number 8 still was his fastest, as he has now moved into second with Holmes back on attack. And look at as all this goes on, look at Cam Hudson staying right there and with him at the moment. So good work by Hudson. 0.9, that's less than 1 second from first to fourth place. A fantastic show, but it's Shane Richardson. But in all of that, Spider Staples, Dan Met in there at the moment, only 6/100ths of a second off lap record of John Ross. Maybe this afternoon when it's a little bit warmer.
All right, we're coming amongst lap traffic as well. We're coming amongst lap traffic. I'm absolutely amazed with the speed that Jeremy Holmes is showing. He comes in that Macaulay Ford corner. Those that don't know Southland track here, Terratonga here, you've got the Castrol through the infield, which is a right-hander. We go through the Macaulay Ford, the left-hander. Watch him line up there. He often passes on the outside and then just does a demon move on the very, very fast right-hander over the next one. And it doesn't matter how far he back is sometimes. We see him coming towards that at the moment. It is Shane Richardson out in the front on the Wainui Montmartre joiner responsive machine, 28 machine, Dan Medham. But watch that Holmes bike. Look at him. There he does it. Almost again. He's closing up there. He tries over on the inside. Not quite this time, but he certainly makes up 4 to 5 bind lengths and absolutely on fire there. There we go. A couple of passes going through. Good race by young Aaron Hassan as well. Aaron Hassan, he had some good racing last weekend, set his personal best, and it's great to see the smile on his face after a race. He just says, I'm absolutely stoked with what I've done this weekend. He may not be needing to win out there, but he's just enjoying himself doing what he's doing, and he got a good solid 5th, I think, last weekend too, Neil.
Yes, indeed, and in fact, no, we had him up on the podium. He got a top 3 at one stage. So in fact, was that first race Saturday or first Sunday? Certainly wasn't a Grand Prix, but great performance from him, and he was absolutely delighted to be there and thoroughly deserved it as well. And no longer, I think, in the shadow of big brother Jaden, who's taking a break from Superbike road racing in New Zealand. Very talented family indeed, with 2 young guns. In fact, we had brother Jaden, of course, last year became New Zealand Superbike champion and the youngest Superbike champion we've ever had in New Zealand. An outstanding feat from the reigning champion, because of course we still haven't concluded this series and wait till the first weekend of March at Hampton down south of Auckland for a conclusion of this 4-round championship event. Shane Richardson, Dan Medham, head of Jeremy Holmes, Cam Hudson, to Seth Devereaux, Aaron Hassan, and looking out there, of course, still that best time of Dan Medham outside the lap record, but proving to be the fastest out there with 11 laps. Longer race durations here today for the Top Cars sponsored Super Sport class. Top Cars and Commercials, proud to be supporting road racing in Southland. Top Cars, your used car specialist and import specialist on Clyde Street right here in Invercargill. Look out for it, Medham goes, there it is, Medham to get it, so Medham's gone for the lead, and there we are, Daniel Medham, and still that best time. He's just done a 1:03 in that last lap as compared to, 1:03 as compared to 1:01 was his best time previous to that. So overtaking manoeuvres. Now that he's gone in front, could this be an opportunity to see him break away? Now remembering it was only 5 laps ago and he was back in 5th place, so he's done a great move to make his way up through the field. In fact, make that only 4 laps ago. So that is incredible to see the fight back from Dan Medham here, really getting on form at this stage. So that 5th place, he did it for a few laps and he just looked like, well, maybe is he not going to be able to do any better, but he just shows us his class, is what this man is capable of doing. So bring it on with Dan Medham up there. Dan, Shane Richardson, Cam Hudson, Jeremy Holmes, who slipped back there. A time at just done a time of a 1:01.3, by far his slowest that he's performed up there, with Seth Devereaux, Aaron Hassan, Ted Collins, Marcus Begbie, Royd Walker Holt, and Robert Gibson, who's gone past Rex Mincher to be our top 10 riders.
Another rider that's absent this weekend and given up for the season, unfortunately, is Connor London. Had a big crash. Number 99, Connor London, had a big crash last weekend and destroyed one of his bikes. And on the Thursday practice here, he had a crash as well. And I see a message on Facebook that's saying that he just can't do it. He's carrying injury and that sort of thing, and he's gone home. So it's a bit of a shame to see him out there. Out in the front, and Richardson's closing up on Dan Medham. There's probably 1 bike length in it, and Cam Hudson there was sitting in a good, comfortable 3rd place, but he's closed right in on these leaders. He's the points leader. He's got to ride with a level head, but he also knows there's quite a few rounds coming up. We've got the 3 races next weekend, because we've got 1 more race today in this class. We've got 3 races next weekend, and the final round at Hampton Downs carries 4 races. We have commentated saying there is a double header with 5 races, but we've been corrected, so 4 races. So Cam Hudson doesn't want to let his points lead slip away, so he's now closed in on the lead 2 bikes. It still is Dan Metten, followed by Shane Richardson, and then Cam Hudson. The white flag is out. We are going to come across lappers through the infield, so this can change us. Jeremy Holmes there on the Southland Honda dropped off the pace a little bit in 4th spot there. He was an early leader several times, and as was Damon Rees. Damon is parked up over in the hairpin, definitely upright. He had a bit of a crash over there, and that is a bit of a shame. That's 2 DNFs he's had this season, so that's not looking good for his points. But here we go. It is Metten, Richardson and Hudson right through the infield. They come across the Macaulay Ford corner there. I think, Cam Hudson's making the move. Cam Hudson's making the move. They disappear out of sight, but I'm pretty sure he got up on the inside of Shane Richardson. They're coming across the back markers.
No.
Now Neil Ritchie.
No, I don't think he's got. Oh, yes, he has. Yes, he has. He has indeed. And they're coming up on the back. Now, all of a sudden, look what Cam Hudson's doing on the tail of Dan Metten from a man that was in 4th place and just seemed like he was lost back there for a short time in the midway to 3/4 mark in the race. I tell you what, he is coming storming home. This is the last lap, remember, so we're looking out for it. Could be an update here as we go for the run, and nothing. Corner. I tell you what, no, I think Richardson got him back. Shane got it. That is so, well, I tell you what, that is, what have we got, 5 100ths of a second. No, 1 100th, 5 third. There you go. I tell you what, there wasn't anything more than the, what would you say?